Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Work on economic empowerment. And in other words, go get that money. Now, for those who follows my business channel, you know I always end my podcast with let's go make that money. Now, here's the thing. And this is something I had in my book, Nice Guys and Players. I've said all men should have some type of business, something they can control, even if they're making six figures, a job they like. You know, it could be their career. They could be a doctor, attorney, or they could also be a fireman, a police officer, EMT. We still need those things. We still need it. But regardless of what you're doing, work on that economic empowerment. Now, here's the thing. You're not working on it to get women. This is actually separate from women, but it can play a part because there's many women who might get some guy because he's an alpha showpiece. He looks good, he got he can rock the world in the bedroom, but after a bit, if that's good for sex, but if you're talking about a relationship, which I know a lot of y'all really want a relationship, y'all ain't trying to do that player life, and that could be for whatever reason you want a relationship. Work, you still gotta make money, and really remember, you're not doing it for the woman. You're not even doing it for a relationship. You doing it because one, you want to have some control over your life, some measure of control, and two, you want to eat. You want to eat. Even if you're working for somebody, you want to eat. You don't necessarily have to be entrepreneurial, but you got to have you have to develop some skills in order to make money. And that's very important because, I did a video about how to use money to, empower yourself, and always maintain that, because you can't be confident in getting a woman. Might not spend money on it, but you can't be confident in getting a woman if you're not eating right. Shoot, you too hungry. You trying to talk to a woman, your stomach growling. Or, if you meet some woman, she feeling you, and it's just like, oh, you know what? Yeah, can we go back to, let's go back to my place. You find out it's your sister's place or something. You got going through the basement. You be like, baby, be real quiet. And you can't feel good. The woman might still be down for you if she think you fine enough, but you can't feel good. Because the money thing and the economic empowerment thing is so you can move in the world. That's it. That's it. It's not even about getting women. In fact, people want to trick, go to one of those channels where they promote tricking. I don't promote tricking here. And it's about not giving it to them. It's not even about the woman. The money I make, women will tell you I'm cheap. They like, Ron, he all right, but he cheap. That's because I'm like, I ain't going to pay a woman to spend time with me. But when I get that money, it's like, it feels good when if your car has an emergency, you can just have it towed to the nearest shop, and whatever they say, you can be like, yeah, go ahead, fix it. Unless it's too much money. But then it's empowering to know you can go to a car dealership and walk out with a car that day. It's empowering to know that you don't have a concept of cutoff notices. Because, as soon as that light bill comes, boom. Or it's empowering to know if you need something real quick, or you might need an outfit for some important event or something, you can go get it. Or if you're a connoisseur of food, you can go to different restaurants and enjoy yourself. But the main thing you get from it is just a sense of control over your life. Because the interface, the way the social system is set up, you just need money not to get a person, not to get a human being, unless you want to pay for a human being, but for sex. Unfortunately, in some parts of the system, you can still pay for a human being, but that's more of a political issue. But you can still pay for sex, but it's, like I say, it's not about that. And that's just as important as getting a woman. In fact, the woman, really, what a man should be doing. And this is related to the House of Man concept promoted by Master Yao. And y'all should check his stuff out. Check his stuff out because he gets into the deep stuff. He don't have time for this pickup shit. He actually way beyond that. What he if you look at the House of the Man, the warrior, the eagle, the hunter and the healer. Now, with the warrior, every man should be getting their bodies right. That should be 1/4, and have the ability, or at least the will. If you gotta lay out a body, you can do it. And just for the anal among you, that don't necessarily mean putting a bullet in them, but you gotta be able to physically fight. I don't care how good you are at the gun range or how quick you can get that concealed out. Sometimes you might have to go to blows. You gotta have the strength to do it, and then really just have the body just to do different shit. You know, you got in a mindset to be a warrior. And then the eagle, well, you got to be a thinking person. Like, every man should be reading something. Every man should be reading stuff for empowerment. Should be had some idea, some news stories that they read, knowing what's going on in the world. Now, it's actually easier, but it's harder because it's so much. You got so much information coming from all over the place. But a man should have a general idea. He should have a general idea what's going on politically and economically. Politically, because they're making laws that will affect you. And they're making laws on how the economics are going to play out. Economically, and they go hand in hand. They really go hand in hand, because bad economics can elect certain politicians or keep them elected, or it's capable. A bad economy will change the government. In fact, let me give y'all a little tangent. Who wins the election depends on what the economy looks like on election day in 2020. Whatever the economy is that month leading up to it, that's going to tell you who's going to. If it's a good economy, we going to got 4 more years of Trump. If it's a bad one, Trump fans, you just got to get used to. You just got to deal with him not being in office. Oh, Trump detractors waiting for it. But seriously, if you want to know what's going on, really, and I'm gonna tell you what, with the economy thing, this is how important the economic thing is. I remember this wise gentleman. This dude had Swiss bank accounts. He said, look, I don't even read all that stuff. Only paper I read is Financial Times and maybe the Wall Street Journal. So that tells you. So a man needs to have a general idea what's going on economically, or even hitting the streets. If you're in the neighborhood, you know there's a lot of stores are closed, and you need to pay attention to that. At some point, that affects you, especially if you got a family, because local governments be getting they getting some of that tax money that those stores are generating too. So that can affect the quality of your stores. So as a man, you need to know both what's going on out here, but then have the ability to navigate it. Now I was talking about the house of the man, so you need to read up on stuff. The hunter, that's when you actually, that's the part of you that actually goes out and get the money. We don't hunt anymore as a group. And we don't build our own shelters or get resources, so we have to have that money. That's the part of us that go hustle. And then the healer part, that's just a sex part. On this channel, I talk a lot about the relationship part. That's the healer. But it's important that you gotta work on your economic empowerment. That's like I said, if you either working to become the best at your craft, your job, or you working on a business. And let me make something clear. Everybody's not built to be an entrepreneur. But every single man needs to have something. And to the point, don't wait on somebody to give you a job. Because that's how, I'm going to tell you what. I know I don't use the terms alpha and beta a lot. But that's really how, I'm going to hit y'all with some deep shit. I might do a video on it if enough people ask. The betas can control alphas just by having the money. And this is why I don't like using the term, because then some people say, well, doesn't that make them the alphas? Not really. But you can economically castrate somebody. Shout out to Cousin T-Tall for introducing that term. You can economically castrate. One group can economically castrate another group. Hopefully some people see the subtext in what I'm just saying. So, you want to do that. You want to work on your economic empowerment. You want to be economically empowered. You want to be able to navigate this system. Able to negotiate, gives you leverage. Nobody has control, but the way the system is set up is a bunch of parts. And, whether you want to call them the man, the elite, the Illuminati, Thanos and them, there's the only thing they do, they don't really control, but they just set up fences. And that's all they do. And even control the economy to some extent. But that gets into a deeper conversation, and Rom don't need any accidents to happen to his brakes, which were perfectly good. I'll leave it at that. But it's deep. It is deep. So anyway, that's all I got for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.